YouTube, my name is Elizabeth and welcome to Book Babble. Today I'm going to be doing my weekly wrap-up. Last week when I left you off, I was in the middle of Happily Ever After by Kira Cass, and I finished reading it that afternoon, like right as my video was uploading, and this is so good, guys. For any lover of the Selection series, this is a must read. I cried like twice at least. It's just so beautiful and so nice to see, you know, everyone about what happened after the one. And let me just, like, I'll go through all of these stories and I will rank them or something. So the first one is The Queen, which is from Queen Amberly's perspective, which is Maxon's mom, and it's about her selection and how she fell in love with the king, who I can't remember his name right now. King Clarkson, and that was a really beautiful story. It was nice to see their love story and how they fell in love and how the country was at that point in time before Maxon was born. Really good story. The next was The Prince, and I had actually read this one before, but it was from Maxon's perspective about what he thought about America when he first met her and when he decided to keep her and if he was going to let her go, and just his, you know, his version of the selection. But it's not the whole thing. It's, I think, from a couple days before the selection starts to about a week or two into the selection, but still really good. And then The Guard is from Aspen's perspective, and again, I had read this one before because it was in a different bind-up, and this is from Aspen's perspective, and just basically how he sees the version of events in the selection, and I think the elite as well, but I'm not really sure. I can't remember what things were in which books, but still really good. All of these things were just really good. The favorite is from Celeste's point of view, and I don't really want to give spoilers away for the second book in the selection, but like a major event that happened in the selection series with Celeste, this is her point of view of that event, and that was really interesting to see because I had never read that before. And then The Maid is from one of America's maids, and again, if I give you information about her, I will spoil some of the story, so I don't want to do that. And then After the One is like a little tidbit of how the selection girls feel after America was picked, and you know, like just basically the events directly after what happened at the end of the one. The Where Are They Now section is you know, updated events on what's happened with the other selection girls and not the main characters, which is kind of cool to see, but I wasn't as interested in that section because, like I said, it was like lower characters. And then Sneak Peek at the Siren, I did not read that. I don't read sneak peeks. I rarely do that, so I want to be surprised. I want to know, I just don't want to know anything about the Siren until I actually read it. Happily Ever After by Kira Cass was a 5 out of 5 stars for me. It was so good. A must read for any selection lover. Then I picked up The White Rose by Amy Ewing, which is the sequel to The Jewel, and I read this in a sitting and a half, I would say. Like, I read some of it the night before, and then I read pretty much almost the whole thing the next day. I just plowed through this. It was so good. I needed to know what happened next. I can't give anything away again because of spoilers. It's the second book in a series, but The Jewel is about a girl who, in this world, this is like a dystopian fantasy type world, and in this world, girls who live in the marsh, which is like the low end of society, are the only ones that are fertile enough to have healthy babies. So the elite of this world buys them in an auction, and it's just basically about that and the girl who is being sold in the auction. It's her story, and this is the continuation of what happened in The Jewel. And I don't know what it is about this series. I think it's another thing like the selection. It's like a nobody being thrust into high society type thing, you know, even though all she is a surrogate, she's being thrust into this high society and nobody's becoming a somebody type thing. And I just really love that story. I love that trope. I can't get enough of that trope. Like the Red Queen was that trope, and I just love everything that has that type of story in it. So this was just so good. If you love that type of trope, I highly recommend The Jewel and The White Rose. I read both of them in like a combination of about 3 or 4 sittings. I read them just super quick, and I love these stories so much. I gave The White Rose a 4.5 out of 5 stars. Then I read some graphic novels. First, I read Sex Criminals Volume 11, and this was pretty good. I think I gave it a 3.5 out of 5 stars. And then I read no, that's not Sex Criminals. And then I read Sex Criminals Volume 12, and this is getting a little weird. I don't know what's going on with the story, but it's getting a little crazy. It's just weird, and I don't know. I'm gonna continue on because I'm so invested in the story at this point, but it's getting kind of weird. And then Sex Criminals Volume 13, again, more weirdness. I like that they're expanding the world. If you guys didn't know, Sex Criminals is about two people who it's about two people who get together, who have sex, and when they have sex, time stops. And each of them, before they met each other, whenever they had sex, then themselves would time stop, and now both of them realize that each other has that power, and so they kind of go on like a journey to find other people who have that power, and then they use the power to rob banks. And it's a really interesting story. The first 10 comics were really, really, really good, and now 11, 12, and 13 are getting a little weird for me. I'm gonna see where it goes. I don't know. I'm used to reading the bind up, so I'm used to reading 5 comics at a time, so only reading 1 or 3 comics at a time has been a little weird for me. I kind of want to know what happens in the next 2 comics, so now I have to wait. But I still really like it. Again, it's probably because I'm so invested in the story, but I would pick it up if you guys are okay with mature content. Obviously, it's called Sex Criminals. It's gonna have very mature content. And for the rest of the week, I've slowly been getting through Game of Thrones by George R. R. Martin and The Name of the Wind by Patrick Rothfuss. I've been reading A Name of the Wind for quite a while now, and so I decided to do a buddy read with my friend August, and we're going to be reading half of each book a month so we can get through it by the end of the year. So I need to read half of A Game of Thrones in January, and I'm about 20-ish, 20, 25 pages away from the middle, which is number 407, so I'm hoping to finish this probably today or tomorrow if I get to it. Yeah, so, and then the other book that I've been slowly getting through is The Name of the Wind, and right now I'm at about 191 pages, and the first like 50 pages I hated. I hated this book so much, and I'm doing this for the Elizabeth versus Chase challenge. So my husband challenged me to read this year, and I don't give up on a challenge. I just don't give up on stuff like that. So I powered through it, and once I got past that like 50-page mark, I just fell in love with this book. I've already cried once, and I'm only at 200 pages, and it's just so good. I cannot wait to read the rest of the book to see if I like it just as much as the first 200 pages. But so far, I'm really, really enjoying it. I'm probably not going to finish this this month. I'm just going to have to put it down so that I can keep up with my TBR and, you know, read some graphic novels and get ahead of my TBR so that, or for my Goodreads challenge so that I can read this. But that's basically everything that I've read this year, guys. Thank you so much for coming, and I hope you enjoyed it. Bye!